select the interpretation. So if anyone needs Spanish interpretation, we have that available.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let people know how to select the channel. Hi, everyone. Buen día a todos. No sé si hay alguien que hable solo español y que necesite traducción en este momento. Por favor, puede desilenciarse y avisarnos. I'm saying that if there's anyone who needs Spanish interpretation right now, to please unmute yourself and let us know. But basically, the way to select the channel is you'll see an interpretation globe at in the bottom bar. Para seleccionar el canal de interpretación, van a ver el símbolo del globo terráqueo en la barra de abajo. And basically, if you're on your computer, you just click on it and select the channel that you want. Si está en su computadora, simplemente hacen clic y seleccionan el canal que desean. And if you're on your phone, you have to go where it says more ... And there you select the channel that you desire, and you can choose to leave the original audio on or to mute it. Y si están en el teléfono, van donde hay 3 puntitos y puede decir more o más, y ahí seleccionan el canal que necesitan y tienen que hacer clic en finalizar. And you do have to click done for it to actually kick in. And just a reminder to everyone who's speaking to please speak at a slow pace so that we can interpret everything that is shared. And if you see us going like this, it means please slow down a little bit. Y les estamos pidiendo a la gente que hablen a un ritmo desacelerado, y si nos ven hacer este símbolo, significa por favor hablen un poco más lento. Thank you, gracias.
Thank you so much, Florencia. This is Jessica. Florencia, maybe, I don't believe we have anyone who is using Spanish interpretation yet, so maybe we can keep you in the main room to check in until then. Does that sound right? Thank you. So while we're on the subject, I just want to say something about language justice. So at Senior and Disability Action, of course, we are all about justice for all. And we talk about collective access, where we share the responsibility of making a space that is accessible and inclusive. And so the same is true with language justice, that instead of English always being the default and people who don't speak English having the burden of figuring out interpretation, we all want to share that responsibility. And so today and in future sessions, we anticipate having people who speak Spanish as well as English. And so when that's the case, we're all going to want to sign up for interpretation. So if you speak English, when there is someone who's speaking in Spanish, you'll want to be signed up for interpretation so that you are able to hear what Spanish speakers say as well. And like Florencia was saying, there's some tips on here. Please speak slowly and clearly. Think about key points you want to make and keep it brief so you can take your time. This is a reminder to me, right? Instead of just saying everything I can think of, what is the key point, and I'll keep it short so it's easier to interpret and for people to understand. Don't use acronyms or jargon. We always do a lot of that. And so we will definitely try to explain things, and please speak up if there is an acronym we haven't explained. And stick to one language. If you speak multiple languages, it's actually easier for the interpreters if you just speak the one language on each line. Okay, and on that note, I will give it back to Rhea.
All right, thank you so much, Jessica. So for now, are we setting up interpretation now, or are we going to wait until Spanish speakers come on and then make a separate room? Like, should we all select a language or not yet?
Heidi and Florencia, I'm thinking maybe we wait. What do you think?
I agree.
I think if people, nothing bad would come out of people selecting the English channel. So maybe it's just a good practice to get into.
Yeah, sure. That sounds good to me.
Okay.
All right. So if everyone can go to the bottom of their Zoom screen and see the button that Jessica showed us, that's like a kind of like a globe with like a grid on it. It says interpretation, and then click that. And then if you want English, select English. If you want Spanish, select Spanish. And then you should be in. All right, so if anyone has trouble with that, you can let us know. Great, so welcome
Oh, I
everyone.
see, wait, you said at the bottom, there's a screen that says participants, chat.
Yeah, participants, polls, or there's screen share, or these are mine actually because I'm a host.
Mine says share screen.
Okay. Do you see one that says interpretation
No.
that has like a little globe or a little circle with?
It says more. It says more.
Oh yeah, or more.
Oh.
You might have to make your window big enough as well if
Oh,
it's
yeah,
not full screen.
There you go.
Oh, cool.
Found it?
Oh, I don't even have that. I just have participants, chat, share screen, record, and reactions.
Hmm.
And then there's a stop video, mute, and then leave.
Do you have a, next to reactions, do you have something that says more? It's like ...
No. Right, let's see what this is in the corner that says view. No. Gallery view. No. I don't have any of that.
You're on a computer or your smartphone.
I'm on the computer.
I
Mhm.
have heard of this
I'm on the
happen.
computer, but the program I have on here is Foxfire.
Mhm.
And it's probably a whole different screen than what everyone else has.
It
Mhm.
should be similar, but sometimes it's about whether you have the most recent version of Zoom. Maybe,
Mine may be an older version. Because I had, well, my smartphone just kind of like honked out and I had to get another phone. And I'm still learning how to use that other phone.
Well, it should be okay for this time since we're just practicing.
yeah, maybe we'll take some time at the end of today or before the next session to make sure everybody can get it.
Yeah, sounds good. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Andrea. I didn't know that was a thing that could happen, but yeah, we'll troubleshoot it before the next session. Great. So welcome everyone. A few people just joined. So we're going to get started. I'm Rhea, an organizer at Senior and Disability Action, and Jessica is our executive director, who's here too. So I might be muting people as there's background noise, but of course you can unmute
I
yourself.
can mute my, I can mute mine.
You know how to mute yourself? Okay, cool.
There we go.
Oh,
better?
mute the TV
Yeah, I was
too.
listening to my jazz.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so Senior and Disability Survival School is a program that has been around for, I believe, about 30 years. And it's a class that we teach normally in San Francisco in different senior centers and community centers. And then in the last year, of course, we've been doing them online as well. And it's a class all about what resources and benefits that you are eligible for as a senior or a person with a disability, and how to advocate for yourself and exercise your rights in getting those benefits and resources. And the emphasis is on independent living and living in the community. So the things that you might need as a senior or a person with a disability to be able to live well in your home, in your community. And those things include healthcare, transportation, housing, other community resources. And then this school is very exciting because it's a little bit different in a couple ways. One way is that this is our first East Bay focused survival school. So our past schools have all been focused on San Francisco. What are the resources and benefits there? And of course, in the East Bay, everything is a little bit different, and it's also a much bigger region, with different cities within it. And it's also our first mutual aid focused survival school. And Jessica's going to share a little bit about our mutual aid project. So I'll turn it over to Jessica.
All right. So I think Andrea mentioned, and I think others here have probably been part of what's now called the Crossbay Mutual Aid Project, which was started by our organization, Senior and Disability Action, along with Bay Resistance, and Causa Justa, Just Cause, back in last March, the very beginning of the pandemic. And basically it was people saying, we got to take care of each other. We've got to take care of our communities, that we knew immediately that seniors and people with disabilities were going to be the hardest hit in terms of getting sick with COVID, being hospitalized and dying. And that in order to keep each other safe, so many of us stopped going to the grocery store or got really isolated, and that we needed some additional kinds of support from each other. And Senior and Disability Action, or what we call SDA, believes in interdependence, right? That we all support each other in different ways, and that we don't need to do everything alone, that that's not the way our world works, that, that we all need help sometimes, and we can help each other with different things. So the Mutual Aid Project was about people delivering groceries to each other, helping with some basic home care. We set up phone buddies so people could talk and not be so isolated. A lot of different ways of neighbors helping neighbors. And SDA used to be mostly San Francisco, but more and more there are members in the East Bay. And with the Mutual Aid Project, we said the needs are clearly all over the Bay Area. And so there were a lot of people who were who became part of the Mutual Aid Project in the East Bay. And so that's part of what led us here today. And we realized that, you know, of course, the pandemic and shelter in place lasted so much longer than anyone ever imagined. And so many of the needs are not going away, even when the pandemic may recede. And so part of the survival school is about understanding what other resources are in the community, or what resources do we need to create so that we can all get our needs met longer term.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Yeah, so hopefully a lot of you might be familiar with the Mutual Aid Project. Maybe you've offered to help someone in your neighborhood, or maybe you've received groceries delivered or some help around the house. Sorry, I'm going to mute. Thank you. Yeah, so we'd love to hear about, you know, both today and in the class ongoing, what resources and benefits you've taken advantage of in the pandemic, what has helped you get through this time, and also like what are the things you've needed that haven't been available or that you haven't known how to access. Yeah, just to maybe just to share a little bit more about SDA, which is the organization that we work for. We're a community organization that's membership based. And that means that like our strength comes from our members, and our members are all seniors or people with disabilities of all ages. And we organize together around issues relating to healthcare, housing, mental health, and transit. And we've worked on a lot of different campaigns over the years. Like some of you might, maybe the San Francisco people are familiar with like the Free Muni campaign that we won Free Muni for seniors and people with disabilities. And we worked on a lot of housing campaigns and healthcare, and have been, you know, working on pandemic issues that affect people with disabilities and seniors as well. Yeah, so we just would like to invite anyone who's interested in joining and wants to get involved to stick around after and talk to me or Jessica, and we'll sign you up. And we also have a couple of our wonderful members here today. Rebecca is here, and Cora and Maya. Yeah, welcome. Yeah, so any of them too could talk to you a bit about what you can do as an SDA member and what they like about being involved. Yeah, so all right, Jessica, do you want to go over some of the basic Zoom functions before we go on?
I do. Let me share my screen again. Okay, so I don't know how many of you have been using Zoom a lot. I'm sure some people have. And if not, here are some basic tips. So for starters, we have captions on this call. Zoom finally is enabling auto captions. So they call them subtitles. They're just in English right now. And so if you go to the bottom of your screen, this shows what it may look like on a computer or a tablet. You'll see on the bottom of your screen a little CC. If you're on a tablet, sometimes you have to actually like touch your screen to get these things to show up. So you'll see a CC that says closed caption or live transcript, or sometimes you'll go to the ... that says more, and you just choose show subtitle. They may have popped up automatically when we started. And if that's the case and you don't want it there, you can go to hide subtitle. Okay. And then, so mute and unmute is a really key function. If you are on a computer or a tablet on your screen, you'll see this little microphone symbol and you just click on that to mute or unmute. Or you'll see a little speaker that says audio and you can click on that to mute or unmute. If you're on the phone, you can dial *6 and that'll mute you, and you can do that again to unmute. Like Rhea said, sometimes if we hear background noise coming from someone, we'll unmute you automatically. I mean, we'll mute you automatically, I apologize. And so if you are trying to speak and you're wondering what happened, you can always unmute yourself. All right, and then raising your hand is another important one so that we know when someone wants to speak, right? Or if you have a question for one of our speakers. So on the bottom of your screen, again, you'll see this little picture of people that says participants, and you can click on that, or if you're on a smartphone or a tablet, go to the ... that says more. And then actually, I said that wrong. On the more, you'll just click raise hand. If you go to the participants tab, you'll see all the participants listed. And then at the bottom of that, there's a little raise hand option. The other option you have, somebody mentioned there's an icon that says reactions. And if you click on reactions, you'll also have a raise hand option. And reactions is fun because if you agree with something, you can give a thumbs up. You can do a laughing face, you can share how you're feeling about things. And it's a great way for us to be able to connect with each other since we're not in person. So I want to ask people as we are talking. Oh, one more thing. If you're on the phone, to raise your hand, you dial *9. So I'm going to ask everyone to raise your hand right now. Go ahead and practice. If you're on Zoom, find the raise hand. I mean, if you're on the computer, do a raise hand. If you're on the phone, hit *9. Raise your hand. Oh, they're going up. 5 people have raised their hand.
I don't see the raised hand on here.
Are you on a computer, you said?
Yes.
So on the bottom of your screen, do you see participants?
I have that. I clicked on participants. All the participants are there.
And then on the
microphone and the video camera.
So on the bottom of the list of people, it should say raise hand.
Oh.
You see that?
Yeah.
You see this picture on my screen where it shows you
mine
the
is different.
So
Wait,
on
let me see. There we go. I think that was it. No.
Oh, I see 9 people have raised their hand. That's good.
I'm looking for mine, but can't seem to find it.
And I know accessibility wise, some of this may be challenging. And if you can't, it's certainly not the end of the world. If you can, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. If you need to you can say, I'm raising my hand, and we'll make sure to call on you when you want to speak.
Yeah, I'm looking.
All right. That's okay. Thanks for checking.
I am signed in on Foxfire. I guess if I sign in on my Chrome, it might show a different screen.
They should be similar, but yeah, we can find some time later too to go over it a little bit more if that's helpful. So the last thing I want to mention is the chat function. So I think some of you already did that, but if you go to, again, the bottom of your screen, you'll see something that says chat, and it's this little talking bubble, or it might say participants, and you just click on chat, and that's going to open this window on the side where you'll see that some of us have already put some things in. And so it's just a way for us to write notes to each other. So you might see a link there that is something that you can click on. For example, Rhea, do you want to go ahead and put the link there to the agenda?
Yeah, I will put the link to the agenda.
And then people can try clicking on that link. You want to open the chat and then click on that link. and you'll see the agenda.
Is that the www.sdaction.org?
No, that's SDA's website. So you can
Okay.
click on that when you have time as well. Okay, so I'm gonna stop share. I think this is the end of what I wanted to do here. Let me make sure.
Here we are. I see it.
Okay,
All right. Cool. So I just put the link to the agenda in the chat, and I'll also screen share it for a second. And also, yeah, David mentioned in the chat that, the chat isn't accessible to everyone. Like, not everyone can read it. You might be using a screen reader. So anything important that we put in the chat will also include in the materials that we send out after the class. So nothing, nothing important will be only in the chat. And if there's something that is important for the whole group, we'll read it out loud. But yeah, thank you for that reminder. All right. Okay, so I am going to screen share.
and Rhea, did I miss it? Did you explain why Regina is not here? Or did you say
I
Sarah
did
not being
not
here?
actually. That's
I just wanted to let people know, I think most of you have connected with Regina, who is SDA's mutual aid organizer. And she has put all of this together and has connected with all of you and has really done an amazing job. And unfortunately, due to an emergency, she is very disappointed that she couldn't be here with us today. So that's why Rhea and I are co-facilitating. So you will see Regina most likely Thursday, definitely next week. And thank you for your patience with Rhea and me today as we try to honor the work that Regina has done.
Yeah, thank you. So Regina will hopefully be joining us on Thursday, and if not, very soon. And you'll get to meet her and work with her in person as well. So I just wanted to go over here. I'm showing the agenda that is for today and tomorrow, and Thursday. So we've already done some of this stuff, and our first speakers are coming at 1:30, which is pretty soon. We'll be wrapping up a little before 3. And then on Thursday, we'll be covering food justice, which is going to be a really exciting day, talking about food resources in the East Bay, a bunch of different mutual aid food projects that have started during the pandemic and some that have been around before. So I think that will be a really exciting day as well. And then we have for the next following 2 weeks, we'll also be talking about housing, about healthcare, community health, in-home supportive services, and mental health, and transportation. So those are some of the topics we're going to cover. All right.
I'm sorry, Rhea, let me say one other thing. I am realizing I'm getting some text messages that the verdict in the George Floyd murder case is coming in the next hour or two. And, I just want to acknowledge that it's a heavy moment for our country that this happened in the first place. And it's scary, having to wonder and worry about what that verdict might be. So I just want us to make space for that. And if that comes in and we need to change the agenda around and talk about that or give people time to take care of yourselves, we will do that. So we can play that by ear depending on what happens and depending on how everyone here is feeling.
Yeah, thanks, Jessica. I didn't know that was going to come so soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So I see one of our first speakers is here. But before we introduce and welcome these speakers, I'm just going to go over some quick community agreements. And these are just kind of our group agreements for our time together, not just today, but also Thursday and the next couple of weeks. So the first one is speak with respect. I think everyone knows what that means. and one mic, one voice. So, you know, try not to interrupt each other. Of course, on Zoom, sometimes that happens. But yeah, you know, just try to respect when someone else is speaking. And if it's accessible to you, use the raise hand or the other features to talk. The second one is listen from the heart. The third one is what Regina called the Vegas rule. What happens or gets said here stays here. If it's someone's personal experience, you know, that doesn't apply to, like, you know, the number to call for, you know, finding out about in-home supportive services, you know. So yeah, share the resources, but keep people's personal stories private. The next one is move up, move back. So this is like, you know, if you tend to be participating a lot, talking a lot, think about making more room for others to speak. And if you tend to be quiet and kind of hang back, think about participating more, or, you know, sharing more if that feels right. And then last one is everyone's truth matters. People come from different lived experiences and all perspectives are welcome. So hold both and. Like, for example, maybe you had a really bad experience with a certain like community organization or a certain resource you weren't able to access, and maybe someone else got great services there and it really helped them out. So like, you know, both people's truth can be true, and just to respect that. And then what Jessica mentioned about collective access and language justice is another one. So collective access is basically, in terms of all of our, like whether we have different disabilities or different access needs, you know, we all need different things to participate here. And it's all of our responsibility to make sure that those needs are met and people can participate as much as possible. So it's not just, you know, on each of us individually to like make sure that we're able to participate, but it's on all of us to, you know, check in, make sure that it's working, make sure that that we're being as accessible as possible. And, you know, in this format, knowing that there are some limitations with Zoom in terms of, you know, all types of access. But yeah, like what David has put in the chat, like, you know, a lot of people use speech screen readers. And so let's not use the chat for everything. Let's, you know, mostly use speech because that's more accessible. And, you know, anything important like links to the agenda, links to resources are all going to go out over email as well. So yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah, so maybe really quickly, we can just kind of have people say names, and like maybe you can say your name and your gender pronouns, which would be how you'd like to be referred to. Like, would you like people to call you she and her, or he and him, or they and them, or something else? And if you have any access needs that you know of right now, and would like the group to know about. So we're going to move very quickly through this. So yeah, just try to keep it really short and sweet. So my name is Rhea. I use she and her pronouns, and my access needs are met right now. And I will pass it to Jessica.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I use she and her, and my access needs are met. And I'll pass it to Maya.
Hi, I'm Maya. They, them, she, her. I'm going to need to switch into bed, so I will leave my phone and get into a laptop. But other than that, my needs are met. Thank you. Great to be here. And I pass it to Issa.
Hi, my name is Issa, and I go by she and her, and my access needs are met. Thank you.
Wonderful. Let's see. How about Rebecca?
So my name is Rebecca. I go by she and her, and my needs are met. Thank you.
Some background noise. All right, Cora? Oh, Cora, you're muted. Cora, can you unmute yourself? All right, we'll come back to Cora. All right.
Okay,
Oh, there you go.
I'm Cora. Sorry about that. And PDC, and I'm an advocate group. Thank you. My needs are met.
All right, thank you. All right, Andrea, do you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Andrea. What happened? Can you hear me? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm Andrea. That's about all I can say right now. I'm joining for the first time and enjoying the meetings.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us. And if I mute you or anyone else, it's just because there's background noise.
Oh, yeah, you
leave
might
your-
have to keep me on mute. I have my ESA animals here. And they're
Okay.
chatting.
All right. Yeah, I'll do that then.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Andrea. All right, Sonia.
Hi, I'm Sonia, and you can refer to me as she and her, and all my needs are met at this present time. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining. Let's see. How about Lisa?
Hello, how's everyone? My name is Elisa. Actually, I usually just put Lisa to make it easier. And I go by she and her, and all my needs are met. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. How about David?
My name is David Mandel. I represent the California Alliance on Aging and Vision Loss. He, him are my pronouns, and I use a screen reader because I am visually impaired, which is a speech synthesis screen reader. So it would really help to minimize the use of the chat function. And if the organizers have notes or important information to send, please do so via email and not via the chat only. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, David. Thank you for sharing your access needs. Let's see, who has not gone yet? Brisha? Brisha, could you unmute yourself?
And if you're on the phone, you can hit *6 to unmute yourself.
All right, let's come back to Brisha. How about Clinette? Can you unmute yourself, Clinette? No? Okay, we'll come back to you too.
Oh, there's Clinette.
Hello?
Oh, there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Clinette, and I go by she or her. My access needs, I'm still having problems with I just got a new laptop. So that's why I'm on the phone now. So next meeting, prayerfully, I'll be together with that.
Okay, great. Thanks for sharing that. All right, and Ray's iPhone.
My name is Ray. My pronoun is he, him. I use a voiceover as my way of communicating on my iPhone.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for joining us. And I believe, yeah, only Brisha hasn't gone yet. Brisha, if you can unmute yourself and introduce yourself quickly. All right, we'll come back to Brisha later. Yeah, so welcome everyone. Thanks for the introduction. We would like to collect your names and email addresses and phone numbers. And I wonder what the best way is to do that. If we were going to have people put it in the chat, but if that, for those of you using screen readers, if that will just start reading all of that, that would be distracting. I wonder.
You know what? People could, if you know how to send a private chat message, where it says to everyone, you can change it to me, to Jessica, and you can send me your email and phone number that way, and I can collect them. Or you can email Regina or either Rhea or me if you have our emails. How's that?
That sounds good. Yeah. So if you could send a private chat to Jessica or me with your name, your email address, and your phone number, that would be great. And that's how we'll keep in touch for the remainder of the class and afterwards. All right. So I am going to introduce our first speaker. I'm clicking around. All right. So it looks like our first speaker is here, Aliyah. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. So Aliyah is here from the Black Cultural Zones COVID project, and they have started a People's Health Mobile, which I can't wait to hear more about. So I'm going to turn it over to Aliyah. Take it away.
Great, thank you for the introduction. It's great to be here. Regina invited me, and I'm really excited to talk to you all about the project that we're in the process of developing. My colleague Lisa is actually on the call as well to talk about another service that we're in the beginning stages of piloting. It's a one-stop service hub, so she will be talking about that as well. Can I share my screen? Is that okay to show some slides that I created? Okay, great. Let's see, here we go. All right, let me present.
Just a reminder to please be sure to describe anything on the screen for people that aren't able to see it.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much.
The first slide, we have just the logo, which is the People's Health Mobile, as well as our motto, which is #StaySafeOakland, so that we encourage people on social media to keep up the trend of staying safe Oakland. And we also say, let's stop the spread in more ways than one, because we're trying to, go beyond just passing out PPE and trying to figure out all the ways in which we can address COVID needs and all of the different issues that have arisen in terms of resources and needs because of COVID. So it's presented by myself, Aliyah Romero, and Lisa. And the People's Health Mobile is actually an Outreach and Education Council initiative. So on the next slide, the Outreach and Education Council, I have a list of all of the organizations that are a part of it. Also, can you see, I'm trying to hide this. I can't see what y'all are seeing. Is there anything interfering with the slide at all? Okay, great. So within the council, which was born as a result of the City of Oakland's COVID-19 Racial Disparities Task Force, we have the Alameda County Public Health Department, BOSS, CalPEP, City of Oakland, GCEA, which is Global Communication, Education, and Arts, HEPEC, Homies Empowerment, Oakland Frontline Healers, Regina's Door, which is also Beloved and Assistance, and Street Level Health Project. But overall, the council is backboned by the Black Cultural Zone. And here is our poster that we created to kind of show that, so it has a couple different faces to try to show that we're trying to serve, a diverse community. Oakland is a very diverse community, and we just want that to be, highlighted in all of our communications materials. Would you like me to show the video? I included a video to show our launch that we had at the Acoma Outdoor Market, which is a certified farmers market in East Oakland. We went there to collect surveys, just to kind of gauge what the community wanted, or what questions they had in terms of COVID, so that we can begin kind of trying to figure out how we as a collective could work together to address those concerns. So if we have time, I can show the video, but if not, I can move forward.
Sure, the video sounds great to me if it's, pretty short. I feel like people would like to see it.
Okay, here we go. So yeah, these are just some pamphlets from some of the council organizations. We gave out hand sanitizer. That's the banner for the farmers market. And we're just kind of showing the farmers market in general and how we were distributing PPE to community members. So yeah, the poster had a QR code so that people could take the survey with their phone, but we also had hard copies available for them. Great, thank you for letting me share that. Let me see, next slide. Oops, not again, sorry about that. So yeah, from the People's Health Mobile, which, you know, we're in the process, we had an RV that was actually donated to us that we're hoping to, you know, stock up with materials and bring to different hotspot neighborhoods, you know, bringing in PPE, you know, some of those flyers, as well as some of the organizations we work with conduct COVID-19 testing. So we're hoping to, you know, bring that out in the community. And our goal is also to bring vaccinations out into the community as well. But from that initiative, we created the People's Health Mobile newsletter. And this Thursday, we are actually going to be launching our 4th newsletter. So it's a pretty new initiative. And within the newsletter, we basically talk about local resources, job opportunities, you know, vaccination site updates, testing updates, and in general, what the council is doing in order to interrupt the spread of COVID-19 in Oakland. If you're interested in receiving the newsletter, you know, I included this flyer, but I can also send you all the link to sign up. It's released bi-weekly, so every other week on Thursdays at 9 a.m. And we also have it available in Spanish. And now I'm going to pass it to Lisa to talk a little bit more about the One Stop Service Hub. She's actually in charge of keeping track of any updates concerning you know, what resources are available in a variety of different arenas. So at the moment, we are actually just kind of keep consolidating all of that information onto a spreadsheet, but we are hoping to actually launch a website that would house all of these materials in one place so that people don't have to, you know, basically do a scavenger hunt all over the internet looking for what services are available to them. So Lisa, if you're there and able to speak a little bit more about some of the local resources that we wanted to highlight that are available within the city of Oakland.
Yeah, hi everybody. So as Aliyah said, I was actually she didn't say this, but I was newly hired by the Black Cultural Zone. So I'm just coming in to try and, you know, help gather resources in the community. I would say that we want to focus on resources that are in the community, but I also recognize that there could be resources that could benefit folks that are further away. And we're asking folks to actually send us those resources as well. If they have things that we should be plugging into our one-stop hub so that once it gets launched, people can log on to the website and have access to those. So this is sort of like a collaborative. We're not coming in saying that we know all the things. We are asking for folks to say, like, what do you need? And so some of the things that I brought up to Aliyah when she said that this presentation was happening, because I have personal experience. I have an elder in my household. We're an intergenerational household. So my 73-year-old mother-in-law lives with us, is Center for Elders Independence, which I'm assuming a lot of y'all will know about. We've found that to be a very good resource for my mother-in-law. And so I wanted to encourage folks to look into that. And it's also located, the particular site that my mother-in-law is connected to is connected sort of to the parking lot of Liberation Park. And Liberation Park is where the Acoma markets happen for Black Cultural Zone. So there's that tie. And then the East Oakland Collective is actually an organization that I've been with for about 4 years. And they, or we are a homeless advocacy support org. And how we have pivoted during COVID is that we would normally do bi-monthly large scale gatherings where folks would come from the community and bring food, and we would make sandwiches and put together lunches and essential supplies for folks like toiletries and such. And so we had to pivot because we can't gather. And so now folks are either donating through a website, which is eastoaklandcollective.com, or you can come down to 7800 MacArthur Boulevard and drop off items, but you can also pick up items. And so I'm happy to leave my information so that folks, if they want to get connected to the East Oakland Collective through me, I can help them do that. But people can come multiple times a week and come and get groceries. They can get essentials. We also offer the rides, which is the Lift Up East Oakland Mobility for All. I can help folks get rides to places through the Lyft program. And then Off the Grid, which again, I'm assuming maybe y'all know about, but they are offering meals to be delivered to elders. And it's been a really great program. I know it seems like it might be ending towards May, but I'm hoping that they'll extend it. So these are just some of the small, like a small group of things that, you know, we want to plug folks into. There's going to be more, and we want to, again, encourage folks to, you know, let us know about anything you know about or things that you want to know about so that we can try to find those resources. We are a newer org, but we are very much about the community. We want to encourage folks to come out to Acoma Market, including our elders. It's a beautiful, safe, social distancing experience where they can get fresh fruits and vegetables and other beautifully handmade items from local folks. And so I look forward to, you know, populating this this web page full of all kinds of resources so that community members can plug in. I also want to encourage folks who might be on this call to tap in with the Black Cultural Zone, because we do have this beautiful space at Liberation Park, and we want to hear from community members of all needs and backgrounds about what they would like to see happen in that space. So if you have an idea for an event that you want to have there, or something that's relevant to your particular community, we want to know about that. So there's info at Black Cultural Zone. Aliyah, is there any other email that you know of, or is it the info at blackculturalzone.org?
Yeah, that's the main email, or they can email me directly. I can share my email as well.
And my email is lisa@blackculturalzone.org. And so to email me, and then if there's something that I need to pass on to somebody, I can get it to the appropriate person.
All right, great. So now if there's any questions.
Yeah, thank you both so much. Yeah, we have a few minutes for questions. If anyone wants to just unmute themselves and ask, or use the raise hand feature.
I also wanted to add that we have a program called the Neighborhood Messenger program, where neighbors can be paid $500 a month to participate in essentially getting PPE and different flyers out about COVID safety and such to their neighbors. So that is another really awesome, valuable resource that helps, neighbors connect to each other and also allows people to earn some money. And that person to connect to would be Jerl, Jerl, at blackculturalzone.org.
Okay.
All right, wonderful. Yeah, and if either of you, Lisa or Aliyah, have like a link, oh, sorry, there's some background noise, have like links you want to share, if you would be able to just private message them to me or to Jessica, and we'll email them out to the group at the end of the class today. Yeah, thank you both so much.
Sounds
That was
great.
really informative. Yeah, any questions?
Yes, this is David, and I would like to suggest that in conjunction with each survival school session that you provide a written handout. It would really help a lot because there are many valuable resources here and some of us cannot write them down as we listen. So it would be very helpful. And thank you so much. And I also want to say that there are quite a number of blind and visually impaired African Americans and others who we are aware of here in the East Bay who know nothing about these resources. Some of them do not have the technology or computers, and they need to connect to you by phone. And many of them are connected with the East Bay Center for the Blind in Berkeley, but they live all over the East Bay. And so this is really wonderful. And we hope that we can make sure that everybody can connect with you.
Well, I'm happy to send Jessica my phone number. Is it Jessica?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not connected to an office because obviously I'm working from home, but I'm happy to leave my phone number. I'm totally comfortable with that in order for folks who cannot access things, in the technology world, to get a hold of me and for me to try to, assist them. I also want to say that I am helping folks get vaccinated so I can, get either give someone a location, or I can also give folks codes if necessary, and they can also call me. So I'm gonna text you or send you my phone number, Jessica, and you're welcome to give that out.
Thank you so much, Lisa. That's great. And yeah, just to reiterate, we are all about collective access. Of course, sometimes we all make mistakes. And so it's great for us to check in with each other. We are putting some things in the chat because I know for some people that's really helpful. But everything, all the links and things we put in the chat, we will email to everyone afterwards. Or if it's someone who doesn't have email, then we'll make sure that you get it in whatever way is good for you. So we're all about having multiple formats. So everything in the chat will be shared later.
Okay.
Yeah. And also to speak to David's comment, I don't know if I emphasized earlier, but we will be sending out survival sheets before the end of the entire class. So in the next couple of weeks, and those sheets will have all of these links, all of the phone numbers, all of the crucial details. So for any of you who are trying to take notes and write everything down, write down what's useful to you, but we'll be sending all of that out and you don't have to worry about that getting lost. And those will also be translated too. Thank you so much, Aliyah and Lisa. Give you guys a round of applause. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
hope to have you back at another survival school sometime soon.
Sounds great.
Yeah, great. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right, so now
and some links, okay? So I'm just gonna stay on, but I'm gonna take myself off camera.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Lisa. All right, so now we're gonna take a really quick 5-minute break. And we'll if anyone needs to get up, stretch, get water, use the restroom, and come back with let's come back at 2:02. So I guess that's 4 minutes. And then we'll have our next speaker. And also feel free to private message me or Jessica if you have questions or need help with anything during the break.
Well, we're gonna have to take this down like that. Okay. And then I will go to
Great. Oops, I had my notes a second ago and then I just lost them. Okay, sorry. So welcome back, everyone. I'm Jessica again with Senior and Disability Action, and I am delighted to introduce Faith Battles with the Social Services Agency for the County of Alameda. We were really lucky to have Ms. Battles on a town hall meeting that we did a month or two ago now. I can't keep track of time, about vaccine equity. And to now have her back to share more about some of the programs and services that are available in Alameda County for seniors and people with disabilities. So she worked for 20 years in Alameda County's Department of Children and Family Services and had joined the Department of Adult and Aging Services as the Assistant Agency Director in February of 2020. So lucky for her, she came right as the pandemic was starting and has had plenty of work to do. So on that note, I will turn it over to Ms. Battles.
Great. So would you mind nodding your head if you can hear me? Okay, very good. I'm happy to be here with you all today. There's a lot going on in the world today. There's a verdict that's coming out in the Derek Chauvin trial right now. So there's lots of energy going in that area. But I'm glad to be here to talk to you all about some positive work that happens in this very county to give you all information about what it is that we do. So I am the Assistant Agency Director for Adult and Aging Services here in Alameda County. And we have a lot of different programs within Adult and Aging Services. And I want to give you all a little glimpse at the programs. The first one is probably what you're most aware of, and that's Adult Protective Services. APS is just like CPS, but it's for adults, the aged, the blind, the disabled, or folks that are 18 and up. And APS is basically a mandated program that is put in place to investigate reports of abuse or neglect of typically elders or dependent adults. And those categories are usually, there's physical abuse, there's sexual abuse, there's very common self-neglect. The individual that is older or a dependent adult is not taking care of their personal well-being. There is neglect by caregivers or family members. Something that's on the rise is financial abuse. Their estates or their bank accounts or their credit cards are being used by folks without their permission. Real estate fraud is also another type of abuse that we see as well. And emotional abuse, and then abandonment. In this county, we probably see mostly self-neglect of older adults that are not able to take care of themselves. And we find out about them because mandated reporters will call us and talk about them to us and ask us to intervene. So typically a mandated reporter is a doctor, a therapist, an in-home supportive services worker. Anybody whose job it is to work with this population is technically a mandated reporter. So that's the one big service that we offer. We also offer another big service. We offer in-home supportive services. So in-home supportive services is the program that allows individuals we call consumers that need help with their activities of daily living to have someone be approved and come and help them based on their skills and abilities and their actual needs. So you have an IHSS consumer or recipient, and then you have an IHSS provider. So for the consumer, in order for you to be able to receive IHSS, you have to live in California, you have to have a valid Social Security number, and you have to qualify, this is the important one, for full scope Medi-Cal. full scope Medi-Cal is what pays for IHSS services. You have to live at home or you have to live in an abode that you choose, but it can't be a board and care. It can't be a nursing facility or a hospital. You have to demonstrate that you need assistance with your activities of daily living and then apply for it. So that's what IHSS is. We also are able to approve individuals to be IHSS providers. Those are usually people that the recipient knows, that says, you know, Andrea is going to be my IHSS provider. She's trained and she's approved to be able to do that. And she works with me on what it is that I need. We also have the public authority, which is the entity in the county that actually coordinates the IHSS services and how folks can be approved. A really interesting part of the work we do here is we have what's called a public administrator. The public administrator, technically it's me. I'm the public administrator for the entire county, but I have deputies that work on my behalf to be able to administer the estates of people who have passed on, that have no next of kin, they don't have a will, or they don't have an executor or somebody else that's qualified to take care of their estate. We usually find out about individuals in Alameda County that need a public administrator to come and resolve their estate, because the coroner's office will call us, a hospital will call us, a board and care facility will call us, or even law enforcement will call us to say, this person has passed on, we can't find any next of kin. And then we do the process of figuring out if they have an estate, and if they do have an estate, which is basically all of your valuables. If you own a home, if you own a car, if you have money in the bank, if you have investments, we'll find somebody that is related to them, and then we'll dissolve the estate. So once they pass on, our intention is to pay off any bills that they had and to find folks that are entitled to that estate, and then to get that money to them or that property to them. In that case, we sell people's homes. We get permission by the courts, though. We just don't run in, but we seize their checking account, any of their finances, we seize their home, and our whole effort is to dissolve that estate. We also have, and I'll come back to the chat. So we also have public guardian conservators. They act as a public conservator for individuals that the court has found lack capacity because they have a mental disorder, they have a grave disability, or they're unable to resist fraud or undue influence. So we would conserve those individuals. We can conserve your person, meaning your body, your whole self, and we can conserve your estate, meaning your checking account, your home, your assets, or we can conserve both. Typically, when we do conservatorship or guardianship, a lot of the individuals require us to conserve everything about them. Ms. Cora must be looking at the verdict. So they require us to look at everything, and we will conserve an individual and everything. Somebody that you may have heard of in the news that's popular is Britney Spears. Britney Spears is conserved. She's the pop star, and it's very uncommon for young people to be conserved. Not only is her finances conserved, but her person is also conserved. That means she can't make any decisions about her well-being without asking permission from the individuals who conserve her. Ideally, we want people to not be conserved forever, so we try to get people back to a level of competency where they're safe to be able to handle their personal affairs, and sometimes that happens, sometimes that doesn't. We also have Veteran Services, the VSO. We have an office in Alameda County that provides services for veterans and their dependents and or their survivors with any information related to veterans benefits. We help them to file their benefit claims. We do waivers and appeals, and we help them to maintain all of those benefits. A very common benefit for veterans is that they can go to school at low cost, or their dependents can go to school at low cost. So we help connect them. Whether it is that benefit or their physical health or their mental health, we deal with the veterans as well. We also have Area Agency on Aging. It's a tiny department within my department, and the AAA is basically, they're the local arm of the National Aging Network, and they contract services to people 60 and up in Alameda County, and they get grants from the federal government, the state government, and the county gives money as well. So a common service that the AAA subcontracts out for people to provide is senior nutrition. If you get any Meals on Wheels, if you get any congregate meals where you go into an actual site to eat meals, our AAA has likely created that contract that allows you to be able to do that. Within AAA, we have that contract, we have legal advice, we have health advice on how to best use your Medi-Cal, we have slip and fall prevention, medication management, lots of different services for older adults. So the basic information is anything that's connected to seniors being able to thrive. Please put your phone on mute. Thank you. Anything that's related to seniors being able to thrive in Alameda County happens out of this particular department. We also have a senior information and assistance line. We get a good number of calls from seniors asking about IHSS, or I need some help understanding a form, or I need some help with food. That senior information and assistant line is very, very helpful to them. And I'll make sure that I provide this information to Jessica and Regina so they can share it with you all. And last but not least, we have an age-friendly website. It's important for you all to be familiar with that website if you can access the web at all, because a lot of what we do in the county is put on that website. Our intention in Alameda County is to be an age-friendly county. That means it doesn't matter how old you are, you can thrive in this particular county. We have a logo or motto that says if it's good for seniors, it's good for everybody. So if we're planning with older adults in mind, for example, we're more than likely going to catch everybody else in that, and it'll all be accessible to everyone. So I want to look at the chat. Is there an income limit for people to get this help? For IHSS, specifically, I'm assuming, Karen, that's what you're mentioning. For IHSS, you have to have full scope Medi-Cal, and Medi-Cal is often can be connected to income. So you'd have to fill out your application and see what you might be eligible for. We have people that participate in IHSS services. They have somebody to help them at home, and they may pay a share of costs. It can be very expensive though. So it really just depends. That's a trick question for me to answer. And in terms of what we've done in response to the COVID, this department, when COVID happened, we knew very quickly that our older adults wouldn't be able to get out of their homes freely, and that really impacted people's ability to eat. That was a big, big deal. So we spent a good amount of money with various providers to make sure that food could be delivered to seniors that needed it, as opposed to the seniors used to be able to go to the community center and eat with their friends or go to the grocery store. When the pandemic hit a year ago, our intention was to not have people leave their homes unnecessarily, but to be able to thrive in home. So we spent a good amount of money creating meal programs that would deliver food to individuals. There was a question Regina asked me, and then I'll stop talking and let you all ask me some questions about vaccine. So in terms of vaccine, Alameda County, the Department of Adult and Aging Services, my department, we're not responsible for vaccine. The healthcare services or public health department, they're responsible for vaccine. So it's their job to advise the community about vaccine and organize and distribute and even inject vaccine in the arms of community members that are eligible for it. But we did partner with them. So one of the things we did, they said, okay, we have vaccine and the state has made it available to IHSS providers. We need to let them know that they can get it. So we have a confidentiality rule. So I just couldn't give Rebecca all of the IHSS provider names because she doesn't work for my department. Instead, I could take the information that public health was offering and then email it to everybody in my department that benefits from that particular vaccine. Andrea, you have to unmute yourself, babe. Press unmute.
Well, I got a flyer from my daughter that you keep seeing walking back. She is, my provider, but they sent us a letter so I can go get, list of numbers or places you can go.
Yes.
And on my list, there was a CVS, Walgreens, and Safeways.
Yes.
There was a few others, but that's how I got mine.
That's very good.
Guys, and they sent me the letter. It was a letter with a list. You just call the number, go on the website, and if they have available space, you get in.
That's very good. And I'm glad that you
got lucky, though. You got to keep calling.
You do. You have to keep calling. You have to keep calling.
3 days.
Yeah.
Yes, kind of. I call 3 or 4 times a day.
Yeah.
Also the website, and they'll pop up and tell you when they're able to do it.
Yeah, thank you for saying, Andrea. I would click. I refreshed, and I probably refreshed on a website about 5 times before I was able to get through. And if you're an IHSS recipient, they were willing to vaccinate your IHSS provider if they were interested as well. So I'm glad that you were able to get that information.
Her job, which was good.
That's
And
really
I could have
good.
gotten it there, but at the time I wasn't ready.
Okay,
And then when
good. You
I
did your homework.
decided I wanted to. That's when you guys sent me the letter.
So
And
that
I
worked
didn't know
out.
where to go.
Good. I'm glad you got your vaccine. Thank you for sharing that. Jessica?
Thank you so much, Ms. Battles, for sharing about all of these programs and services. I just want to acknowledge, I know it's a lot. And so to remind people that we will send out some information on that. We can send some links. Couple of things that I wanted to make sure people know. One is Rhea announced earlier that we're going to be talking all about food this Thursday, same time. So we'll make sure that we have those resources about what Alameda County is providing and some other community programs. And one thing that I know has come up is that the department is called Adult and Aging Services, and that people don't always know, or aging and adult services, people don't always know that the adult services means people with disabilities. San Francisco actually changed the name of the department to Disability and Aging Services, and maybe we should get Alameda County to do the same thing. It's always
that's a suggestion. We take that suggestion. Not even veiled. Okay.
That wasn't even a veiled suggestion. That was
Not
more like,
even.
is it something that community members want? We can think about it later. But I would definitely encourage anyone who is a senior or who has a disability who lives in Alameda County to check out what those services are and see if there's something that might be able to help you. And on that note, Ms. Battles, did you mention, or is there like a main phone number that people can call to find out if there is a service that they could benefit from, or if they have questions?
I'm going to put it in the chat and I'll tell it to you now. And I'm actually going to send you a quick little, I'll send Regina a quick little sheet. If you're interested to find out what's available to you, call our senior information and assistance number. And that number is, it is 800-510-2020, 800-510-2020, or you can call locally 510-577-3530. 510-577-3530. Either of those numbers will help. That's a good place to start, and we'll be able to point you in the right direction. It's a lot, but this department serves 18 all the way up till when we transition. The majority of the individuals that we serve happen to just be older adults, okay, including disabled adults. We also serve a few minors, not a lot, whose parents require in-home supportive services for them. There's no child abuse issue happening. These children just have significant medical and mental health needs, and they need IHSS support. Okay, that's a lot, but I'm gonna make sure that Regina gets you that information, which is a little cheat sheet, and it has a description of all the things I talked about and the numbers associated with them. If you know people that are veterans, share it with them. Veterans are underserved in this county, especially veterans of color. We do have a VSO office, and we want to make sure they're served too. Andrea, unmute yourself.
There are a lot of homeless veterans out there that I mean, they know you guys are out there, but they don't think that you guys will help. That's why a lot of them don't come in.
All they got to do is try us. Just try us one time.
Exactly.
Come in here.
I mean, I've been trying to get that, talk to them about it. Because when I usually, have people that bring me things that they don't fit, clothes otherwise, and I take them out to the homeless.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Tell them to give you guys a call or go in. But
there's so many services available to veterans. It's just crazy that they don't know about it. But some of it is kind of tied to mental health issues as well. Yeah. So the folks that work in our veteran service offices, most of them are veterans, so they can relate to them in a very unique way. So once we get them, we got them. So just send them our way.
I'll keep on trying.
Good. That's all we want. Just send them our way.
Will do.
Thank you. Okay, is there anything else you need from me, Jessica? Because I know I had a time limit.
Oh, you're great. No, thank you. If you have a couple more minutes, does anyone have any other questions? Welcome, Monique. Did you have any questions? I think you may have missed much of the presentation, but we're going to share all of the information later as well. You just got back. You don't have anything to say. Okay, great.
Okay, and I'll put my number in the box. If you have questions, you can always get in touch with me, 577-1968, and I'll give you my email. You're welcome to call or email anytime you want.
Okay, great. Maya, do you have a question as well for Ms. Battles?
I did. I wanted to thank you so much, Ms. Battles, both for this, and I was in the meeting a couple of months ago as well. I think in my case, I just turned 55, and I have become much more disabled over the past 4 years, both from an injury and from a congenital heart diagnosis. And so I have felt honestly pretty overwhelmed as someone who's getting like a lot of disability diagnosis and shifts in my capacity in my mid 50s. And I'm just wondering if there's like I'm trying to get a medical social worker at Kaiser because I do have insurance, but just navigating workers' comp, temporary disability, SSDI, Department of Rehabilitation, you know, not being able to drive anymore, not being able to get a wheelchair because I don't have a wheelchair accessible home. You know, it's sort of, I mean, I'm a grassroots organizer and I'm, you know, learning a lot, working, volunteering with SDA and Disability Justice League Bay Area, but I'm wondering if there's someone that I might be able to meet with to just kind of lay out the landscape, because I didn't grow up accessing disability services, although I'm learning that I have been disabled since I was born. And
do you get any services through my department? Do you have an IHSS provider or anything?
No, nothing. Yeah, and I'm married to a retired firefighter who's on disability through the department, and he's also a disabled vet. So I'm in a weird situation where he's accessing a lot of vet services, and he also was a union firefighter. I was a non-union massage therapist when I injured myself, and have been in mostly grassroots nonprofit and arts and healthcare non-union jobs. So I'm in a kind of situation that because I'm married to someone who has more services and more income, but I individually I can't access some services on an income basis because of his income, but he's trying to support a family of 4 on a disabled, you know.
Well, I think that you're good connected with his veterans, because even if he's a veteran and you his dependents, his spouse, there's some benefits that are available to you all because your husband is a veteran. Now, in terms of the disability piece, we in this department, we don't handle disability. We only handle investigations of folks that are being abused or neglected and provision of services to seniors. But if I were in your situation, I would piggyback on the calls that my husband is making, because if he's a vet, he's very connected, and they can certainly, if he's accessing those services, they can turn you around to put you in the right direction, because we just don't handle disability. It's outside of our expertise.
Yeah, no, I wasn't thinking SSDI. Yeah, I've been trying, but it's been a little bit, it hasn't been working that well. Like he's getting a lot of services, and anyway, I was just.
But you know what? The squeaky wheel gets the oil. So you just have to keep at it. You know, sometimes the answer is no or maybe before it's yes. So just be very persistent. Yeah.
I've heard no quite a bit before I heard yes.
Yeah.
Oh no, for sure. No, I'm familiar with that path. Yeah.
Is it kind of a question of like, is there someone to talk to who knows all the services that are available and can like help you navigate?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
That's my response. We're not experts in disability here. So I don't want to, I couldn't connect her to someone in my department because we don't specialize in disability. We specialize in getting people connected to services once they become eligible. So the best thing what I would recommend is to go through your local disability office. And it's gonna, COVID is here, people aren't working or they're working from home. So everything is moving very slow. I'm sorry for that. We're moving slow in this department as well. We do have a client advocate, and I could certainly see if I connect you to my client advocate, but I have a feeling that they're gonna say the same thing. Would you like to try it?
You get better help with that than going down to the SSI because they will give you the runaround. I've had my share of dealing with them quite a bit.
Why don't you email me, Maya, Elena, email me. My email is in the box, or call me and I'll see what who I can connect you to with my client advocate and see if they can offer something.
Yeah, thank you. Might have a better chance with you than anywhere else. Because I mean, I'm one that loves to talk and I will argue you down. That's why I usually do. But they're a mess.
And I'm so glad we're all here because part of the purpose of doing the survival school is understanding all the different services and programs that are out there and how to navigate them and how can we support each other. And so Rhea mentioned that Regina is putting together these survival sheets that should have some of this kind of broken down so people know where to go. And also we're asking all of you here to, along these 6 sessions, like share what you know about what's out there and how to navigate them and how do we share resources with each other.
Absolutely.
For everyone, well, I don't want to say I'm pretty sure, but I don't know if any of you guys heard of the ReCares. They have where you can go get medical supplies for free. Just call the number and make an appointment to go in. So, I mean, that's a good place to go if you need any medical equipment.
I think we're going to be covering that later in the sessions, actually. That's great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have someone that has been helping me through the pandemic. I'll call the guy and see if I can't give his number out because he's been a big help to me. He's actually the one that I believe referred me to you guys somehow. And that's how I got, I had heard of you, but I never really got a phone call until later on. But I mean, he had referred me with you guys about a year ago. And so, I mean, he's helped me quite a bit through the pandemic and he has resources. So I'll check in with Zach. And
I want to make sure I get the last question before I have to, because I have another meeting. I don't want to miss anybody. David, did you have something you want to unmute yourself?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for your marvelous presentation. This is great. I wish more people would have been here to hear it. I know one of the persons who deals with a lot of your calls on the number that you gave. I won't mention her name, but you know her, and she's blind, and she works for your department.
Oh, yes.
And, yeah, Maureen Schultz. Well, I will mention her name. She's wonderful. And she also belongs to the California Council of the Blind, and we're very proud to have her and work with her. So I have a suggestion. How about establishing a number, like a recording that would summarize the services that you provide for people who don't have access to the web and that kind of thing?
That's an idea. Thank you. I'll take that back to my team.
Sure.
We offer so many different things. That's certainly a good idea.
And we would also love to consider really inviting you to speak to the support group of the East Bay Center for the Blind, because we have many, many people who don't have access to the web. And that's been one of the problems that I've tried to been dealing with and help out with, because they can't deal with the technology, so they don't get the information.
That's absolutely correct. And the pandemic has made that very, very clear.
Oh yeah, it's made it even worse.
Yeah, it's made it even worse.
So thank you so much again. You're wonderful.
You're welcome. Thank you, David. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Monique has the last question.
Go ahead, Monique.
Do you record this?
Oh, did we record this?
Yeah.
Yes, we did record this, and so we can definitely share it. You want to see it? Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much to Ms. Battles. A round of applause.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody. Nice to see you, and ask me back anytime. I'll do my best. Take good care, everybody. Stay healthy. Wash your hands, wear your face mask, and socially distance. Have a good day. See you later.
Ms. Battles,
Yes.
I don't know if you want to stay for 1 second. Feel free to drop off whenever you want, but I want to take a minute. The verdict came out. In the murder of George Floyd, Derek Chauvin was found guilty of murder, of both second degree and third degree murder.
All 3 counts.
All 3 counts. Yeah.
Yes.
So it is pretty amazing. We know there have been all too many examples of Black people and other people of color being murdered, and nobody being held accountable, right? And particularly by police who have that badge of authority. And so to have a police officer found guilty of murder and will go to prison for it is incredible. And it's also still very heavy, right? To have in our country where a white police officer murders a Black person who he is arresting is not okay in any realm. So thank you, Ms. Battles. I know you had mentioned it as well. So I know this, this is a huge moment. And so we want to make space if people want to talk about this and share how you're feeling about it, if people need to get off early and process with other people in your community, or if folks feel like I'm going to process that later and we want to keep talking about the survival school, if you want to continue with the planned agenda. And I'm particularly going to ask our Black and African American participants here today, what is your preference about how we spend our last half hour?
Personally, I would like to call my 3 boys right now, if that's okay.
Absolutely, I understand that.
Yes, I will connect back on Thursday. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, before anybody leaves, if you haven't given your phone number and email to me in the chat, or maybe Regina already has it, just make sure we know how to get in touch with you so we can send you some materials and check in with you before Thursday.
I did.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Sonia.
I left you my number. So if there's anybody out there, that may need, like, I always get baby clothes, toddler clothes. If anyone out there needs any, they can hit me up.
Oh, thank you. That's great. Monique, were you sharing kind of how you want to spend the rest of the time?
I'm glad he got locked up.
You're glad he got locked up.
We can keep going. It's fun to keep going.
I'm sorry, say that last part again.
It's alright to keep going what you're doing.
Oh, so he can't keep doing what he's doing? Is that what you said?
No, I think we can keep going whatever you're doing.
I'm sorry, Monique, you got kind of faint. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Okay, we can keep doing what you're doing.
Keep doing.
We can keep doing what we're doing.
He can't keep doing it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all. Thanks. Anyone else want to share your thoughts on, do you want us to take some time to talk about this, to share how folks are feeling? Do you want us to continue with the planned agenda? What feels right?
I'm down with the agenda.
Someone says continue with the agenda.
We can continue. If no one else wants to speak, we can continue because this is a lifelong journey.
This is a lifelong journey. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, so, I'm glad Sonia said that she wanted to get off and call her boys. I would encourage people, as always, right? Take care of yourself, take care of your communities. you need to go now, please do. We'll make sure you get the information. And yeah, let's remember this isn't just a moment. That part of Senior and Disability Action's mission and all of us being here together is to take on how do we fight racism and white supremacy today and every day. All right, and I'll pass it back to Rhea.
All right. Thank you, Jessica, and thank you everyone who shared, Monique and Cora. Yeah, so we're gonna wrap up soon, but before we go, we're just gonna split into some small breakout groups of, I'd say about 4 or 5 per group. And so in these groups, we're just gonna go around and each person can have a few minutes to share a little bit about what are some of the things in your life that have been affected by the pandemic? What services or activities could we advocate for that will improve your quality of life? And what are some of the issues that are important to you as a senior or a person with a disability? So these can be things that were important, to you before the pandemic, long-standing issues. They can be things that have come up in the last year or so. We just kind of want people to be able to share how it's going for them, what services they care about, they need and want, and to learn from each other a little bit. So I believe we'll have about like maybe 10 minutes for the group. And it looks like, yeah, maybe we'll split into groups of 4 or 5. And if you guys could pick someone in your group to report back, it'll just be really quick, like something that came up, something that you learned. You don't have to cover everything in the report back, but yeah. So Jessica, does anyone have any questions about that first before we go into the group?
Ray, can you just repeat what are the questions that we're talking about?
Yeah, the questions are, what are some of the things in your life that have been affected by the pandemic? What issues are important to you as a senior or a person with a disability? And what services would you like to see, or what services do you use or that have helped you get through this time?
Great. So there's going to be 2 groups of 4 and 1 group of 3, and you should go automatically. When you get into your room, sometimes people on the phone, their windows may not show up, but they may still be there. So check in so that you know everyone in your room. You will have at least 3 people. And how long, Rhea, did you want?
Let's say 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Thanks.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
We are all there still. Wasn't sure if we were all here.
Yeah. All right. So I think everyone's back. Let's see. Does everyone know who the person who's going to report back in our group is? I think in our group we were still kind of figuring it out. But
This is Ray. Jessica, if you wouldn't mind.
That's funny. I was like, we forgot, but I was going to nominate Ray. But yeah, I can do ours.
Sure. Do you want to go first, Ray and Jessica's group? And you can just share something that you learned or something that came up. It doesn't have to be comprehensive of the whole discussion.
Okay. In our group, it was interesting, and everyone shared.
Really here.
And it was just that we felt a little down and depressed going through COVID, but then we were all able to find that was beneficial to us to see us through.
We can't hear you.
It's a little hard to hear you, Cora. Can you talk closer to the microphone, maybe?
Let me, the volume, let's see. Oh, it is low. But I can hear you all well. Now can you hear me better? Is that better?
It still sounds a little far away. I wonder, could you pull the computer or the phone closer, maybe?
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 61. Oh, in our group, we all shared how this going through COVID meant, and we found that, you know, contact was very good, and some felt a little lonely and isolated, but through it all, we managed to get friends and with Zoom and all. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
This is
Cora.
Jessica. So our group was actually very similar. One thing that came up was about people checking in with each other more and like connecting with different people for mental health or for other kinds of assistance, and that we think it'd be great for a lot of that to continue to have better mental health services and different kinds of groups for people to meet and connect. And on that note, I apologize. I have to leave a couple minutes early. It was great seeing you all. Ray is going to finish, and I will see you all on Thursday.
See you.
Bye,
Thank
Jessica.
you.
Thanks for joining us.
This is Ray, and we also discussed a little bit on transportation and also support groups for parents that are disabled, that have disabled children. And
Yeah,
that's about it. You're welcome.
Thanks for adding that. Wonderful. Does the last group want to go?
Maya, can you present? Do you have the
Sure.
bandwidth for
Yeah,
that?
I didn't take notes, but we there were three of us. I guess each one of us, Rebecca, me, and Issa, all had some new or increased disabilities during COVID, and so navigating in different ways. Several of us had challenges with transportation because we either used paratransit or were using public transportation but couldn't access it during COVID. So relying on friends or family to get around and being like physically isolated. Several of us had issues around memory loss and disabilities related to our brains and memory, and that being really challenging during COVID. Yeah, I mean, I think resiliency partly was just staying connected with people as best we can. And really, we talked about the lack of touch, and I'm a massage therapist. Rebecca was talking about getting massage and not being able to get touch related services and increase in body pain and body stuff during COVID. So I think we're all excited to have spring and vaccines and some level of opening to have more literal contact and touch with people. And yeah, did I cover everything? Was there anything I missed?
No, you did good. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Maya. Yeah, I think I can relate to a lot of that too.
Me too.
Yeah, like everyone's gonna need a lot of massages after this.
I suffer from a lot of the memory loss. I think I've been doing that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the stress and isolation too, I think has made physical pain flare up, and memory loss, anxiety, all sorts of.
Isolated. I think it's only
Yeah.
it's not really many places you can go or things you can do.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Stuck in a spot.
Big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Well, hopefully in this class too, we'll be able to, connect with each other and share what resources have been getting us through, and learn about what resources are out there that we didn't know about, and yeah, how we can help each other and support each other. Yeah. So that's pretty much it for today. I just wanted to remind everyone that we're meeting again on Thursday at the same time, same Zoom link at 1. And Thursday, we'll be talking all about food justice and learning about a bunch of projects and organizations in the East Bay that are doing food justice work, mutual aid around food, a lot of places that you can get free food. And yeah, I think that that'll be a really interesting class. And yeah, I hope that you can all make it. Yeah, anything anyone wants to say before we go, or any final questions?
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. Yeah,
thank
it's
you.
really great
Thank you all.
to
Thank
meet
you
you
very
all.
much.
Yeah, and see you, Maya and Rebecca
Love you.
and Cora. All right, bye everyone. Have a good rest of your day, and see you on Thursday.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You too.
All right, bye.